SAC, this is Crystal Palace. Sync NORAD has declared Defcon 3. Scramble all alert aircraft.
I repeat, scramble all alert aircraft.
George Soros was dealt a massive defeat with the landslide populist uprising election of Donald J. Trump 1 week ago. Soros has openly bragged on CNN's Fareed Zakaria's program that he helped finance and run the overthrow of the democratically elected government in Ukraine 2.5 years ago.
You, during the revolutions of 1989, funded a lot of dissident activity, civil society groups in Eastern Europe, in Poland, the Czech Republic. Are you doing similar things in Ukraine?
Well, I set up a foundation in Ukraine before Ukraine became independent of Russia. And the foundation has been functioning ever since. And it played an important part in events now.
And Soros has now met, according to Politico, this weekend in D.C. with dozens and dozens of top billionaires and other financiers to organize a new revolution in America, a black/rainbow color revolution, basically based on gang mentality and racism, and pushing the lies that Donald Trump's a homophobe and hates black people.
You are a racist. That's sad. That's real sad. He's against you. Why will you support a racist?
Tell me what he said about African Americans.
He's going to send you back to Africa. That's what he said. He said send Mexicans back to Mexico. You are a disgrace to America for being a young black man supporting a racist.
Thank you.
When all he's done is pledge to cut taxes on poor people across the board to zero and have incentives to build factories and other job-bearing programs and industries in the black community, and has been an advocate for gay rights for 30 years. But that doesn't matter. George Soros, the bizarre Nazi collaborator that's still walking around, has pledged to start war with Russia, has pledged to turn the Middle East over to radical jihadist groups working with Saudi Arabia. He's overthrown more than 15 countries and destroyed their currencies. He is a true James Bond villain, and he is hopping mad that the defense condition had been brought all the way to 3, which is the nuclear bombers ready, the missiles ready, from 5, and has now gone back to 5 because Russia and the United States are now entering a level of detente. And just yesterday, Vladimir Putin called Trump, and Trump said, we're going to have a new relationship with Russia. We're going to try to base it on peace, and we're going to have mutual respect and try to work towards wiping out radical Islamic invasions across Russia's border and also the Middle East. Across the board, real political analysts, a lot of top professors and real liberals came out and said, this is a great idea. This is what the world needs. The Democrats and Soros are in an open war against free speech. That's what political correctness is all about. They have CEOs calling for the death of Trump, the actual assassination, saying they're going to kill him themselves. They need to be arrested. We have directors saying it's time for violence. Katy Perry. This is the whole corporate Hollywood mouthpiece of the big multinational corporations that have hijacked this nation. And we've got the New York Times thinking you're so stupid. They now just don't deny world government, which is admitted, or global governance. They now say globalism never existed and that the Davos group isn't pushing for it when they admit that's their term and their plan for corporate planetary government.
We are now facing a common challenge. And the challenge is how to build a world order for the first time in history on a global basis.
So, in conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, a new world is emerging. It is a new world order with significantly different and radically new challenges.
The affirmative task we have now is to actually create a new world order.
Good evening, everybody. President Obama and British Prime Minister Gordon today calling for a new world order to tackle our global economic crisis.
And the president outlined his vision of a new world order in which the U.S. would participate fully.
We've got to give them a stake in creating the kind of world order that I think all of us would like to see. So I see a world order in the future with a multipolar world order.
I think a new world order is emerging, and with it the foundations of a new and progressive era of international cooperation.
But in a globalized economy, we are going to have to take global responsibilities, and there is going to have to be some semblance of global governance.
Never before has a new world order had to be assembled from so many different perceptions, or on so global a scale. Nor has any previous order had to combine the attributes of the historic balance of power system with global democratic opinion and the exploding technology of the contemporary period.
And I strongly believe India will be a central actor in the new world order.
Soros allies like Megyn Kelly have come out and called it the year of the bully concerning Donald Trump, when he has never killed anyone like Hillary Clinton has done. Hillary Clinton and her actions killed over 500,000 Iraqi children with their sanctions that were worse than Bush Sr.'s. They killed tens of thousands upon tens of thousands in Libya and hundreds of thousands in Syria. All of that was her doing and Obama's doing. But their poor, sad, dumbed-down constituents don't care because they've learned words like homophobe, racist, and sexist. The good news is the same majority of white voters that elected Obama to prove that they weren't racist, elected Donald Trump to prove that they weren't stupid, and they were joined by the largest group of black voters for a Republican since the 1950s, and the largest group of Hispanics as well, which shows no matter what the mainstream media do and how much hate they spew, and no matter how much money criminals like George Soros pump into this, the people of America and the world are waking up to globalism. Russia's pulling out of the corporate New World Order. The UK's pulling out via the Brexit, and we're pulling out as well. It's about sovereignty, it's about self-determination, and it's about standing up to international crime bosses like George Soros.
You went out with this protector of yours who swore that you were his adopted godson.
Yes.
Went out, in fact, and helped in the confiscation of property from the Jews.
That's right. Yes.
I mean, that sounds like an experience that would send lots of people to the psychiatric couch for many, many years. Was it difficult?
Not at all. Not at all. Maybe as a child you don't see the connection. But it created no problem at all.
You know, Owen, as I'm listening to this, and we see this organization that mirrors the government's 5 levels of threat, you know, Defcon 1 through 5, with 1 being the highest, 5 being the lowest, and 3 was where we were just a few weeks ago. Why? Because we had the Obama administration, and we need to realize that with the exception of Rand Paul and Donald Trump, everybody wanted to have a no-fly zone, even the Republicans who are running. They said, we're going to go into a country that we have started a regime change in, that we went in to deliberately overthrow this guy. They invited Russia in to help them. And, of course, you know, Syria is recognized by the UN as a government, but we just overthrow whoever we wish. And then we're going to tell Russia and Syria that if you defend yourself against ISIS, we're going to shoot your planes down. And we had generals saying, well, you know, you can do that, but you're probably going to start a war with Russia. So 3 weeks ago, it was at 3. And now this private organization that takes a look at it says, look, with all the easing of tensions that we've had here, they're taking it down to number 5. That's an amazing turnaround, but the media is at war with Donald Trump, and we see this in many different ways. This hissy fit, as we got the article, Paul Joseph Watson, about the private dinner that he had last night.
Well, and think about the hypocrisy of the radical left right now, who's supposed to be for peace. You know, the peaceniks out there, all on the left. But if Hillary Clinton would have gotten in, I mean, we're looking at DEFCON 2, maybe even 1. Yeah. Because she said she'll respond to a cyber attack with a physical war, and she is basically already claiming, and the Obama administration, that Russia was cyber attacking us. So she's basically admitting through her own words that she's going to go to war. But Trump gets in, as you pointed out, it drops to DEFCON 5. So where are the peaceniks? Where are the Trump protesters who say that the Republicans, that we are the warmongers? right in the face of looking at the Defcon level dropping and World War III becoming less of a serious issue in the near future?
I'll tell you where they are. We've got the people. Remember, going back to 1947, we had the Doomsday Clock, and it was something that was, right after World War II. There was a nuclear scientist and his wife who was an artist, and they came up with this concept, the Doomsday Clock, to get people concerned about the threat of nuclear war, and it was an imminent threat at that time. We had the Cold War. Both U.S. and Russia were building up their weapons. Nobody really knew what was going to happen with that. It was unprecedented. We'd never seen that before. Going back to January 2015, and they announced that yesterday they were going to meet and decide whether they were going to move the hands of the clock closer to midnight or not. We look at this, and going back to January 2015, this article from Washington Post saying the Doomsday Clock is ticking again. It's now just 3 minutes to midnight. In other words, the end of humanity. And we'll tell you why these people think that things are worse. It's because Donald Trump is there and because of policies that have nothing to do with nuclear war.